Welcome back to Discovery Studios, my very own custom theme park in Planet Coaster 2, where inside I have created 5 different themed lands, with the most recent one being based on PlayStation video games. So I built 2 Ratchet & Clank roller coasters, a Crash Bandicoot roller coaster, a Little Big Planet coaster, and now we need to build a 4th and final one to cap off the full area. And if you don't remember when I finished the Little Big Planet ride in the last episode, which if you don't remember that, then go and watch it. At the end of that video, I did give you guys the choice on what I would build next, and so many of you guys suggested the theme that I've now chosen, and I'm going to reveal it to you and build that coaster today. So make sure you watch till the end to see a work in progress POV, and be sure to subscribe to the channel as well if you haven't already, because even though this might seem like the end of this series, there's plenty more Planet Coaster content to come in the future, because we haven't even finished this park yet. Either way, with the PlayStation area now almost finished, with currently 3 very iconic video games in it, with characters in them that are all mascots of the PlayStation franchise, it would be wrong for me to not theme the next area too. Yes, I have chosen Astrobot as the final mini area in this final big area of Discovery Studios. And there's many reasons why I have chosen Astrobot, but I will get into that in a minute, because as you can see, I'm already starting the roller coaster in the land. And yes, it's a Vekoma rotating coaster. I was originally going to do some sort of launch coaster that goes up this hill and then you start doing loads of inversions and stuff, and then I realised Ratchet & Clank, those coasters are quite thrilling. They've got many inversions and obviously a big lift hill you drop off of. The Little Big Planet coaster, oh my god, you go up a vertical launch and then go into all these inversions and work your way down the cardboard box. The Crash Bandicoot coaster, very family friendly, like kids could go on that. We just don't have a middle ground in the PlayStation themed area yet, and obviously around the park we have those middle ground coasters. You've got like the Wallace and Gromit sidecar motorbike launch coaster, that's very family friendly but still kind of thrilling. It's just the PlayStation area that doesn't have something like that. So I've gone for the Space Mountain or Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind route, and I know we already have an Intamin drift coaster in the park, the F1 roller coaster we built right at the start, which obviously feels like ages ago. It's almost like a year ago, I think, which is crazy. But this is going to be a different type, because that was based on the Intamin drift coaster model. I just used this coaster type to replicate that. This will actually be the Vekoma rotating coaster. And yeah, you can see it going up into that sort of launch all the way up like a rocket ship would, I guess. And then you're going to go over that airtime hill into a couple helixes, few airtime hills, and then a mid-course brake run, very much like Space Mountain, so I can run multiple trains. And then, yeah, it's going to drop down. So it's got those thrilling elements to it, but from the outside, it will be sort of appearing as a family coaster. So a lot of people will go and ride it, and it might be more thrilling than people think. But then again, this isn't a real roller coaster, and it's in Planet Coaster, so anyone would ride it. But as I build the rest of this coaster layout, as much as I will talk more about the layout in a minute, let's talk about why I've chosen Astrobot as the theme of this ride. So, in the comments, of course, well, last time I asked you to leave in the comments what you think the next theme should be. What next PlayStation game should I make a roller coaster based on? And there was so many comments saying what one I should do. And there was 2 very much prominent ones in the comment section. And the first was God of War, Kratos, and that sort of theme. And I was going to go for that originally, but I didn't think it fit the rest of the sort of PlayStation land, how it's all like the cartoony-esque characters, if that makes sense, as I build a nice little turnaround section that you'll actually spin around in your cars on. But yeah, the God of War idea was such a cool one, and I literally started sort of thinking about what that could be like. And then I realised the rest of the area really didn't suit that. And we've also got a very icy mountain over in the Pokemon land, so I didn't know whether I would just be recreating that once again. And you just basically have the same thing over again. But yeah, I've decided to go for Astrobot because I know I've had a bit of a space theme going on with quite a few of these different rides. Even if they look like temples from the outside, or they look like, I don't know, Martian lands. Well, that is space. or if they look like a cardboard box, all of them have some sort of relation to space. So I thought it'd be really nice to have an Astrobot ride that also links to that space theme. But at the same time, if you actually search up the PlayStation mascots over the years from each console, as much as Kratos does sort of come into it, I think unofficially he's the mascot of the PS4, but I might be wrong. You've got PS1, which is Crash Bandicoot, PS2, which is Ratchet and Clank, PS3, which is Little Big Planet Sackboy, and then PS4/5, maybe not 4, but more so 5, Astrobot. So why would I not? Like, it would make no sense not to have Astrobot finish those 4 mascots, considering I've literally built 3 of them already. And this is a PlayStation themed land, so you would think they would base it off of their mascots. And I know there is more mascots than just those 4, but I do feel like those are the core ones that I remember when I was a kid. And I've decided to make Astrobot, so here we go. Yeah, so round that corner, as you can see in front of us, it's going to sort of stay in line with each other. The whole train, of course, can rotate left, right, and go backwards at points. I know Guardians of the Galaxy does that quite well. So in a way, it is a little bit like a drift coaster. But it's not going to be. So pretty much this is going to go all the way through that first section of the layout, through that launch upwards and through those first few turns forwards, okay? Then you reach the mid-course brake run that then sends you into that slow turn that I just built. That entire bit will be rotating round to see a show scene. As you go round, you will then go backwards into the next little section, which will be just some nice little turns before you spin round forward again and go into the final section of the ride, which will be an upwards launch, again launching up as if you're in a spaceship, and then you'll go all the way around. I think, yeah, there you go, I'm building it right now. And that section will be forwards, and from that launch you're then going to start rotating a little bit more and going backwards, forwards, left, right, everywhere. And yeah, it's going to be really cool, as you can see, doing an outer bank. So yeah, it's going to be thrilling, but not overly thrilling, if that makes sense. So from the outside, people will sit there, I've already explained this, but people will sit there and just see this really cool facade, which I'll talk about later, and then they'll want to go on it. And when they get on it, they'll be like, oh my god, I didn't realise it had like these big drops and these big launches and everything. But hopefully it works well for what I'm trying to do. Because obviously Astrobot, like I said, I haven't played the actual PS5 game. Apparently it is one of the best games that Sony have ever made. And also it got literally voted for Game of the Year, which is why it's probably renowned as very good. But I've never played it, but I have researched into it and watched a few gameplay walkthroughs. And I really do love, as much as you do travel to these planets as well, like you do in Ratchet and Clank, I guess, I do love the fact that you start off with that sort of scene in space where they're all on that PS5 rocket ship, and then it obviously all goes a bit wrong and you meet this villain who just completely destroys the ship and sends it down onto a planet. And obviously the main game itself, you're on a PS5 controller rocket ship as well, which is so funny. I didn't even expect that when I watched it. And when you're on that, you travel to different galaxies and obviously different worlds. It reminds me a lot of Super Mario Galaxy, which is one of my favourite games of all time. So maybe I'll have to play Astrobot at some point. Because if this was a Nintendo area, my god, I would build Super Mario Galaxy instantly. But yeah, Astrobot looks like a really fun game. And I do love the fact that it's all based in space. And we can make this ride pretty much, like I said, a lot like Space Mountain, where around the entire ride layout is just stars everywhere and some screens and everything, and we can just make loads of different galaxies and little references. When you go around that corner, you're going to see loads of like the villain, I guess, with loads of explosions and stuff like that, and it'll be really, really cool as a show scene as we come into the final turn and into the brake run. Yeah, I wanted to make a really long brake run, because I know Guardians at Epcot has a very similar sort of brake run. Like, you spend so much time going down it, and then there's a show scene, and then there's the offload platform. Like, had to make it long as well, as I then go through and smooth a few bits out. I actually do take the supports off and put some catwalks on, like you can see me doing there, because there are tons of supports. Look how many there are. And yeah, recolouring that track to black. Obviously, you're going to be indoors. In space, you don't really want to focus on the track. And there you go, just removing the supports as I go along. So yeah, that entire first section until you reach that sort of slow turn and all that sort of stuff, that'll all be forwards. Then you'll start going backwards, and then through that launch you'll be forwards, into the rest of the ride where you'll be rotating around. I thought a little bit like Cobra's Curse, you know, at Busch Gardens Tampa. As much as that is an awful park, and I didn't have a good time when I went, I do think Cobra's Curse is a hidden gem, and I really do enjoy that ride, how it sort of, you know, you start off going forwards and then you hit a brake run and you spin round to the backward section, and then at the end you just go full free spin. And sorting out the terrain as well, because you don't want it going underground. And yeah, this coaster is going to be a lot of fun when it's done. I think that's the main thing with this ride, is it's not going to be super thrilling. And I know I said in the last video that this will be the last thrill coaster. I'd still somewhat count it as a thrill coaster. Maybe I could add 1 or 2 inversions in there, maybe, just to sort of make sure my point last episode was true. But overall, I just think it looks really, really nice, the way it's going to navigate the space sort of theme and everything. And there's going to be so many references to the game, as many as I can sort of put in. And here goes the ride building itself. I decided to keep this footage in, despite it very much looking like Space Mountain in a minute. And I end up removing it because I'm not happy with it, because otherwise you'll be looking at a custom theme park that I've built. Wow, look at all these amazing rides, so innovative. And you've just whacked Space Mountain in the back. What are you doing? So I didn't want to do that. I wanted to make something fully unique. And at first I ended up actually taking this circle here, expanding it a little bit, and then trying to rotate it on a different axis and make this really cool modern look, with the black at the bottom and then this sort of white coming up. You'll see it now. Yeah, like that. And it will go up and up and up. And at first I thought it looked really, really cool, but then I sort of realized I don't really know what to do for the other side of the building. Like, how would I make that look nice and cover the entire coaster? So I thought, oh, maybe I could, you know, make it go up a little bit more. And then I decided to actually do the Space Mountain roof. And yeah, I don't know what this plan was. I don't know why I decided to do that and didn't just duplicate that straight across, but there we go. And yeah, I decided to build it all the way up, like so, and then rotate it all the way around and just start building the Space Mountain building. I don't know what was going through my head. I thought it might have looked cool. I started adding little pieces to it as well, but that coaster track just sticks out the outside and it's too weird of a shape to actually cover things. Like, you can see me here trying to do that similar ring shape, and it does look quite cool at first. But then again, what do you do with the roof? I'm not too sure. And then I had this great idea. Why am I trying to make it look like Space Mountain when, as cool as it might look, I could start trying to make the show building look like a PS5? Astrobot is the mascot of the PS5. That would be cool, I think. So I thought, maybe I should try that. Realised the PS5 is way too thin and this coaster is way too wide, and it would just end up looking the exact same as the cardboard box. And I don't want to build yet another tall structure when we've got that cardboard box already. Like, it would just be ridiculous, and especially for a ride that isn't actually that tall, just didn't see it worth doing. So what I do, you'll see in a minute, delete that entire thing, recolor the trains, because why not? I don't know why I just decided to do that now. And then I took the Guardians of the Galaxy approach, and I decided to build the warehouse around the ride out of this green corrugated stuff, change it to blue at the top. That doesn't really matter because you won't be able to see this anyway. And along that sort of wall, just covering the entire coaster up. A lot easier. Don't have to work with some weird cone shape. Can do whatever we want in there. I could even expand that if I wanted to. And the idea is to have this quite tall warehouse building, unable to see from the outside of the area, and have the facade of the ride where the main entrance is and the sort of, you know, plaza area for the coaster quite far back, so you can have an entire queue line and everything, and make that facade look like the PS5. We can do it a lot smaller, we can add extra bits to it, because we don't have to worry about encompassing the whole ride inside of it. So yeah, also adding a flat ride, as you can see. I've never added one of these flat rides to any park I've ever built in this game before. So I thought, why not, especially for a sci-fi area. Definitely could fit really well into the Astrobot theme. And yeah, just going about that right now. And I don't know what to do for the plaza area, of course, because I want to make that sort of PS5 entrance, and I might even build another flat ride on the right. So if you have any suggestions, please leave them in the comments. But I do really want to make maybe some sort of planet. I try and put some flat rides in, but I have no idea. So again, yeah, suggest in the comments. But I could make a certain planet, or I could, just make it really modern and a bit like white and black, so it fits in with the PS5. I don't know. If you have any suggestions for that as well, leave them in the comments as I move the coaster down into the ground to make the warehouse less seeable, less viewable from the outside world. And now we're going to go into the real world, into real time. See you there. Here we go. Welcome to Discovery Studios. It's been a while since I've actually started at the front entrance, hasn't it? Like the DEF CON coaster over the trees, and just over the Studio 2 building, you can literally see the cardboard box of the Little Big Planet coaster. But if we come into the main plaza area, it's genuinely been so long since I last stepped foot into here. We have, of course, got the Pokemon themed land over here, which still needs a bit of an update to its portal, but we'll do that once the land is complete, because we also need to do the same to the PlayStation land as well, because I thought if I did the portal before the ride, you would have known every single theme that's in this land. So it made sense not to do that as we hit our head into this concrete post and we see Ratchet and Clank running over us. As you can see, beautiful stuff. We're going to head to the right to go and experience the Astrobot roller coaster as a work in progress ride. Oh, I need to put some fences up. That's dangerous! This pathway will hopefully have a really nice transition to it through the sort of trees and everything, and then of course you're going to hopefully not be able to see the cardboard box on that side, and I might have to sci-fi up the back of Tottington Hall as well as we come into the Astrobot themed land. And yeah, we've got this really cool flat ride over here, which of course will be running. I guess it's not testing, is it? There we go, it's running now. Yeah, such a strange flat ride, but I thought it'd be really, really nice to have in this area, and I'll obviously make that sort of white, blue and black to fit in with the Astrobot theme. And over here as well, if you have any suggestions for what I could do as a ride in this section, that'd be greatly appreciated. Of course, we'll have to have that backing onto the warehouse for the queue of the Wallace and Gromit sidecar coaster. You can literally see the characters over there. That looks so silly over there. But as you can see in front of us, there is the warehouse building for the Astrobot ride. And again, this pathway will probably change, but as you come in, I really want you to be able to see in this plaza area some massive related building to the PS5. You know how Cosmic Rewind has that weird sort of grey, I don't know, rectangular-esque building as it goes back, it gets bigger with that ship out the front? I think it'd be really cool to do something like that, but with the sort of PS5 out the front and have some cool shaped building behind, because that could then be the queue line building right in front here, so it blocks off the view of this warehouse back here. And I mean, I think this might be the furthest out an area has gone, because the portal is all the way over there and this coaster is all the way over here. Bloody hell, that's far away. But here we go then, up the lift that then turns into a launch. We'll probably have Astrobot or something happening above, which is quite nice because we can do that. Now it doesn't launch on the outside of a building. Here we go. Whoa. Launching up, that'll be a good bit of airtime. Then we head round into the layout. Some nice helixes. More airtime hills. First mid-course for those operations. It does need a bit more smoothing, I will say that. I noticed that with that bank turn. Really nice there. This bit I find is a little bit too slow, so I might have to update this. And then here we go into that first rotational section where we'll see a show scene in the center. And then start going backwards. Although I have just realized we start rotating instantly as soon as we face backwards. Maybe I need to change that. And here we go, that upwards launch. That'll be so cool. You'll see something down there before heading into more of the ride. Yeah, I think I just need to make the rotations a little bit smoother. It's very much clicking into place and stuff, and I'm not a big fan of that. So hopefully I can fix that going forward. Like, that was a lot smoother, that one. And then again, you'll see something happening into the brake run, where hopefully you'll see Astrobot again and everything will be fine instead of going wrong. And then you'll offload in this platform right here and probably have the exit come round this sort of side, round the side of the building, around the side of that facade into maybe a gift shop. And I really do like the way we can control the certain parts of the ride to spin in certain sections, go forwards in some, and then obviously backwards. And as much as it's not the most thrilling ride like originally I was planning to build, I do think it works really nicely as an Astrobot roller coaster. So in the next episode, I will be theming up that ride and this area, and then completing it shortly after, so we can then say goodbye to the PlayStation themed land and go back to the most insane project I will probably ever do in this theme park and potentially in Planet Coaster, the huge Elite Four and Championship Battle Pokemon Dark ride. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss the next couple episodes, because oh boy, they're going to be jam-packed. And I'll see you next time for another episode of Discovery Studios. Check out the rest of the playlist right here if you haven't watched any previous episodes, because if you haven't, then you're probably very confused at what I'm building. Yeah, go and watch that.